Hey everybody, what's up? You know, I was going to try to do this yesterday, but I ran out of time. My nephew got dropped off around 2 o'clock, so I thought I'd do it right now. It's about 7:48 in the morning on this Thursday morning. And if you hear the fan in the background, I do apologize because I keep it on to keep my room cool and everything, but also, in fact, to kind of keep my computer cool as well. But anyway, I want to talk about basically, this is a movie review, and I want to do this review on, of course, this movie right here. You can see right here. It is Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Now, to me, I personally enjoyed this film. I really did. I thought it was the best out of the three. Ghoul School is ranked second right behind it because, like I said, it was to me the top three Scooby movies out of the Hanna-Barbera Superstar 10 series. The top three, well, of course, it was only three, but the top two, obviously, Reluctant Werewolf, Ghoul School, and then three, of course, would be Boo Brothers. And when I take a look at Reluctant Werewolf and I take a look at Boo Brothers, you know, I kind of look at both films as possibly being extensions of what 13 Ghosts could have been, or just being movie adaptations of 13 Ghosts. And let me explain. You see, when I look at Reluctant Werewolf, they introduce a new character named Googie. She's Shaggy's girlfriend. And I'm not saying anything bad about Googie. I think she's great. I think she's a good character. You know, they basically put her sort of in the role of a Daphne, Velma kind of individual. But not much, but basically, like I said, basically she was like a Daphne Velma like character, but more on the ditzy side at times. But basically she was in that role. And I thought they did a pretty good job with her. But when I look at Reluctant Werewolf, and then of course, like I mentioned, you look at Boo Brothers. Boo Brothers to me, let's talk about that very briefly. Boo Brothers, to me, I think could have been an extension of 13 Ghosts. I think that could have been a 13 Ghost movie. I don't know why, I just do. But when I look at Reluctant Werewolf, I look more at a movie that I think really could have been the 13 Ghost movie. I do. Now let me explain. You have a new character. Like I said, nothing against the Googie character. Nothing against her. I think she's a good character. But when I look at her, I say to myself, because I started thinking about this, and a lot of fans have brought up possible timelines of these movies being before 13 Ghosts and all that. But when I look at this, I say to myself, you know what? I wonder, and this is just a question, and I want to pose it to you, but it's a question of wondering if maybe, just maybe, Daphne was supposed to be in the role of Googie. Think about it. Think about the connection, guys. 13 Ghosts is basically, and it was okay, let's take a look at the connection. The movies were basically animated similar to 13 Ghosts. 13 Ghosts was basically the stepping stone, if not the next, was basically the stepping stone to these movies. So you have to ask yourself if perhaps, Reluctant Werewolf could have been a 13 Ghost movie. Now, I could be wrong, and I probably am, but it's just the theory I want to throw out there. Because when one looks at it, you got the same house Shaggy's staying in that Daphne stayed in with him. So you have to say to yourself, perhaps, just perhaps, maybe, Daphne was supposed to be in the role of Googie, except they changed it over. Because you see, when you take a look at these films, when you take a look at something like Reluctant Werewolf and the two that came before it, my personal opinion is they're basically movie adaptations or movie extensions, Hanna-Barbera Superstar 10 extensions of the 1980 to 82 seasons of Scooby and Scrappy. That's what they are. They're basically extensions of the 7-minute shorts. Which you would have to agree is true. But to me, I've always looked at it, but to me, well, not always, but to me, I kind of look at this fact that Reluctant Werewolf had a lot going for it, and that there was more to Reluctant Werewolf than we thought. To me, again, here's what I mean. The story, I will admit, is a good story. It's funny, especially Dracula. The Dracula character at times steals the show. There's no doubt about it. But, besides the story and everything, to me, I feel that there could have been more. There was probably more planned for this. And let me explain. Again, going back to Gookie, I definitely believe, nothing against the Gookie character, but I definitely believe Daphne was meant for that role. And basically by her probably, this is just my theory, my thoughts and my theory, her probably being meant for that role, that this movie was going to establish that she and Shaggy were now an item. That's what I theorize. That's how I look at it. That's how I theorize. That's how I look at it. However, the producers and directors, obviously, and the writers, obviously, redid things, and probably, if that was the case, just my opinion, was the case, I think honestly they decided not to do that, and decided just to add in a new character. And here's why they added it in, and this is another thing that makes me think there was more to this than meets the eye, if you will. I honestly think that this was going to lead into another Scooby-Doo series. I'm not lying, because when you take a look at the ending of Reluctant Werewolf, and I'm not trying to give much away about it, it definitely gives you the idea that you were going to have a new series. It was either going to be called the Scooby-Doo and Reluctant Werewolf, just like the movie was, or something. It's going to be something that involved these monsters from Reluctant Werewolf. So, to me, I honestly think when you take a look at this movie and you kind of put it to mind, kind of think about it for a second, you realize that there could have been more to it. That there were things that should have been there but got changed around for certain reasons. I mean, like I said, Googie, nothing against the character. I think originally that was supposed to be the role of Daphne. And again, I truly believe, and again, at the end of this film, I truly believe that I truly believe that it was going to lead into a new series. I really do. But again, that's just my theory. Overall, though, the movie itself, like I said, is good. I highly recommend watching it because to me, it is the best out of the three. It is the best. Ghoul School's right there at number 2. Boo Brothers, it's not so well, but it's okay, but it's at number 3. It wasn't the best they could have came up with. But to me, I really, really think, this is one of the best out of the 3 Superstar 10 movies that they did for Scooby-Doo. Now, you may agree with what I say here, but again, like I said, the storyline is great. The story's great. It's great. Not spectacular, but it's great. It's good. It's funny. Dracula, no doubt, steals the show here. And it gives you a chance to see Scooby and Shaggy actually be like, you know what? We're not afraid. Like, yeah, we are afraid of these monsters. But kind of beyond the fact that when they take a look at monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein and all them, they're like, okay, these monsters, yeah, we're scared of, but when you look at it, we shouldn't really be scared. They're just like us. We're just racing against them. again, like I said, it's not to say that they aren't cowards towards those monsters. It's just more along the lines of, I look at this and I say to myself that this was trying to establish Shaggy and Scooby and even Scrappy as being, still afraid, but not so afraid. Like basically they were starting to slowly conquer the fears, kind of deal. But again, that's just my theory. It's just my theory. But like I said, overall, I highly recommend you watch this. It's really good. Like I said, it's the last one. Apparently, it was made in 1989, according to what the Netflix DVD sleeve said. It was made in 1989, or released in '89, basically making it the last of the three. So I highly recommend going out and renting this movie. Probably looking it up on YouTube. I highly doubt you can get it. Or going on Amazon, buying the movie. It'll be worth it, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, it will be worth it. It's very good. And like I said, to me, honestly, I truly believe Daphne was supposed to be in this. Basically, that was the role that Googie took. And I truly believe that when you watch the end, you kind of get the idea that maybe this was supposed to be like a pilot to a new Scooby-Doo series. But that's just me, folks. That's just my thoughts. Again, I think it's great. I think it's a great movie. Not the best, but it's a good one. Definitely worth watching. I'll say this. It's not on par. I will say this. It's not on par with what we've gotten so far in the past 15 years of the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies. It's not on par with those. But it could, let's just say, it could rank in maybe the top 10 if it was released today. Let's just put it that way. So, overall, I highly recommend it. And that's my review on Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.